It's 2024, we're on the brink of World War III, everyone is broke, housing is more unaffordable than ever, and Black Ops 2 happens in a couple of months. But at least for the time being, we can play silly games like Phantom Forces to keep what little bit of sanity we have left in check. A game where we have so many choices that frankly it can get a bit overwhelming from time to time, so I'm here today to give you a little bit of a guide that'll help you decide what guns to use in Phantom Forces at various ranks, and even my personal loadouts for those weapons, so that you can play like a true pro player. Now that you've had ample time to laugh, let's see what we're doing today. How we're going to do this is we're going to pick 3 weapons from rank 0 to 50, 50 to 100, and 100 and above, and a random bonus weapon at the end from a rank of my choosing. And these are all going to be weapons that I recommend you pre-buy. So we're at a total of 10 weapons that we're going to be talking about today that I think are totally worth pre-buying. So without any more hesitation, let's pick out the best weapons to pre-buy in late 2024. The Asval is one that I don't believe I've talked about all too much, but I've grown to like more and more as time goes on for a variety of reasons. For one, it's just rank 15, and like for that rank, you just get so much weapon. You get 3-shot torso or limb kill out to just over 60 studs, and even though the damage drop-off is pretty quick, it has a minimum of 20 damage, giving it at least a 5-shot kill at maximum range, and with its stupid low recoil, it's got some insane laser beam potential at basically any range. The main downside of this weapon has to be its 20-round magazine, but it's really not as much of a hindrance as you'd expect. And kind of the trade-off that we get is an integral suppressor, meaning that it has a suppressor built in, so you won't need to buy one or grind for it later, which I feel is a fair trade-off. Not to mention you get an extended magazine later if you'd like for just 1200 kills. Insanely OP CQC weapon. Lots of decent range potential. Overall, an awesome choice. I like to run my Asval with a micro dot mini, angled grip, and a blue laser. A weapon that I know I never talk about has to be the Scar PDW, and it's one that I can wholeheartedly tell you is worth pre-buying. Being unlocked at just rank 32, you get similar stats to the Asval that we just talked about, with 3-shot kill out to just over 60 studs, a minimum of 20 damage, but with slightly lower damage drop-off, I guess. We get a 30-round magazine, and while slightly slower than average fire rate, its recoil is very low, and it's just a lot of fun to use. You can also get both a 50-round drum of 9mm and a 20-round magazine of 7.62, which both affect damage and recoil their own ways, but personally, I like to run this with any red dot squad barrel, stubby grip, blue laser, and the optional 7.62 for that extra beefy damage. Straying away from the last 2 weapons, I've picked out a solid sniper slash DMR for us, that being the Dragunov SVU. This is a DMR unlocked at rank 38 and has a few very overpowered tricks up its sleeves, or up its barrel, I guess you could say. No idea. It's a 1-tap headshot kill out to 145 studs and always a 2-tap torso kill with its 1.2 torso multiplier. It also comes with a pretty alright stock scope and even a pretty okay default iron sight, which zooms in pretty far. It also has some very okay recoil for its 300 fire rate and a very nice conversion being 9.6 by 53, which gives you a lot more damage, and also there is a full auto conversion, which despite what you may think is actually an insane way to use this, giving you a lot higher of a fire rate, letting you kind of 2-tap faster, but also really OP CQC performance. Plus, come on, look at it, it's awesome. The setup that I like to use is coyote sight, muzzle brake, stubby grip, SVUA conversion for the higher like tap fire that you can do with it, and the optional 9.6 by 53 I like to use sometimes because it gives you guaranteed 2-tap torso at maximum range and a 1-tap headshot out to 150 studs. Though if you're going to talk about CQC engagements, don't use 9.6, just use the default one and just spray. It's really good. I think those are 3 pretty good pre-buys for below rank 50. However, what about rank 50 and above? Well, we're going to start right with the HK416, unlocked at rank 64. And if you know anything about this weapon, you'll probably guess why it's on this list. The HK416 is kind of like the SMGs of the assault rifle category. It's got almost 900 fire rate, pretty middle of the road damage, but at higher distances, and has just a very nice overall kind of profile to it. I like the way it looks. It's essentially a regular assault rifle, but with a much higher fire rate, which I think is a really unique thing about this. And of course, if you throw on a muzzle booster, you get over 900 fire rate, and it really doesn't make recoil that unusable. Overall, it's a super fun experience at not such a super high rank. I like to run this with a red dot muzzle booster for that over 900 fire rate, stubby grip, and blue laser. Stepping it up a bit in rank, we are going to the rank 88 unlock of the AKS-74U. This is an SMG that, in a few different ways, is a cut-down version of a full-size AK, and it's pretty overpowered. It's got fairly low recoil, very high close-up damage, pretty gradual damage drop-off with its multi-point damage graph thing, and fairly average 20 range damage, letting it be a 5-shot kill at maximum range, and also a 2-tap headshot out to about 25 studs. It's just a super fun little weapon with some nice damage that ultimately can replace most assault rifles, giving you SMG handling. Very epic. The way I like to use it is with coyote sight, muzzle brake, stubby grip, and a blue laser. right at the cutoff for our maximum range in this category at just rank 100, we get the Chris Vector, which probably against a lot of people's opinions, I think is in the best state that it has ever been in. I know, I get it. The base recoil looks absolutely wild for this weapon, but in practice, it really just kind of isn't. It just kind of lasers people just so easily. I apologize for the voice crack, by the way. And its close-up damage is ridiculous for an SMG. Plus, its fire rate of 1200 makes it absolutely shred in any CQC situation. But not only is the base weapon very good, but the conversions for this allow this thing to spread its wings and become basically whatever it wants to be. The main conversion being 22, which, if you don't know what this is, gives you fairly low damage overall. However, it also gives you absolutely zero recoil and melts anything and everything at basically any range. Like, you can actually snipe with this, and it's stupidly good, even though it only does 14 damage at range, and specifically with the 22 conversion. Either way, it's an amazing weapon with some really cool and unique conversions, and it's basically good with any combination of attachments. It's insane, it's a great thing to pre-buy at any rank, and the build that I like to use is any red dot, muzzle brake, 2 yellow lasers, and either default ammo or 22. Yet another 3 super solid weapons that I think are good between ranks 50 and 100. But we're getting into the much higher level stuff at level 100 and above. And really a pretty decent place to start with this, I think, is going to be with the X95 SMG. A seldom used, little talked about SMG that's unlocked at rank 115. Ooh, gets me excited for the new Call of Duty Zombies. Anyways, this SMG has a lot of things I like, from a slightly above average fire rate to a super cool model, very unique recoil that bounces up and down a lot, but always manages to fire right back where it started, so it's basically synced up with the recoil. It's hard to show and even kind of harder to explain, but I hope that you get the idea. It's just a lot of fun, and even has a unique conversion for it called triplex that is essentially a shotgun conversion for this weapon. Not amazing, but it's there if you want it. And my go-to on the X95 is any red dot, muzzle brake, stubby grip, yellow laser, and plus P for extra range damage and extra muzzle velocity. Something that you may have never expected to be on a list like this is going to be the Type 88. This weird North Korean 75-round drum goofy looking AK knockoff. It's wacky, it's wild, it's gross, it's actually kind of good. Yes, this rank 122 assault rifle is actually kind of good, and it actually also has a few variations with it that lets you kind of get several weapons in one. The base weapon, however, gets really solid maximum damage, giving you a 3-shot kill out to almost 80 studs, and a 4-shot kill up to 120 studs. You also get some freebies with it too, being a 30-round magazine instead of the drum, which, yeah, I kind of recommend you use this over the base magazine for recoil reasons. And while not free, you can get a 7.62 conversion with it that ups the damage a ton, and even ups the fire rate by 50. And this is my personal conversion of choice with this weapon. Also, side note, the retract stock on this is an overfolder, which I believe is the only one of its kind in the entire game, and it looks, might I say, nasty. It may not be optimal, but I really like using coyote sight, squad barrel, pistol grip, blue laser, and 7.62. The range you get combined with the damage number is just ludicrous. And lastly, at rank 200, absolutely insanely high level now, we have something I never thought I would ever recommend to anyone as far as pre-buying goes, and that is the WA 2000. The WA 2K, the big Wawa, as absolutely no one calls it and should never call it. It's insane now, and as of the last few updates, they've turned this thing from one of the worst weapons in the entire game to an absolute headshot and torso shot machine. It now always one-taps to the head, and always 2 shots torso. And with the 300 Win Mag conversion, it's a one-tap torso out to 85 studs, making it effectively have the performance of like a DMR. Weird that it's not in the DMR category, by the way. Can I just mention as well how few DMRs we actually have in Phantom Forces, with the highest level one being rank 85? Weird. Anyways, this sniper is just an absolute menace and is extremely overpowered to use in the modern game. On this, again, may not be optimal. I like to use basically any scope. The default works really well. Muzzle brake, red laser, which is pink on the WA 2000 for some reason, ballistics tracker, and 300 Win Mag for the ammo. However, like I said earlier, we do have a 10th bonus weapon here, and it's actually a weapon that isn't in the game. Okay, hear me out. Technically, it is in the game. We're talking about the AKM, by the way, but I'm talking about the version that is in the test place for Phantom Forces, because this weapon is ridiculous, and we're about to get a very ridiculous way to use the AKM. So the base AKM in Phantom Forces is pretty good. It's got some solid damage numbers, and with the right build, it's pretty solid to use at basically any range, even full auto. However, the test place AKM is a whole other beast. Its recoil looks super jumpy, but much like the Vector, manages to land all of its shots anyways. And don't even get me started on the shotgun conversions for this, because both have been upped from 10 rounds in the main game to 30 rounds per magazine for shotgun conversions on the AK. Albeit, of course, with reduced damage, as you can kind of see up on screen right now. But CQC, I promise it's very good. Both the slugs and the buckshot conversion are insanely good and a ton of fun to use, and I cannot wait for them to be in the main game. But the base weapon with the base ammo is just so good. When this version does get added, it's going to be insanely overpowered, and I can't wait. And for being a rank 94 unlock, it may just become one of my favorite pre-buys in the entire game. As far as a build, I like to run it with basically any red dot. I kind of like to use Barska Electra, though also with a muzzle brake, stubby grip, yellow laser, and banana ammo for the funnies. Well, boys, that about sums it up. Those are 10 weapons that I think are really worth pre-buying at the end of 2024, say if you're newer to the game or maybe a lower level than these weapons. A lot of weapons on this list too have received recoil or balance changes or other kinds of changes within the last year as well, and are actually a load of fun to use and are really worth using in the current version of the game. Do you have any other recommendations for good pre-buys? Let me know in the comments below, and maybe somebody else will find it useful too. Definitely subscribe if you have not done so already, because of course we will be making many more videos just like this. Huge thanks to the channel members, you guys are amazing, and of course a special thanks to the top tier channel members: Matthew, Yee Gaming, Plum, Jared Smith, Solitude, The Mower, Katzen, Kitsune, King GS, Mr. Spooky, Taxman, Trooper MLG, and Lazy Goth. If you want to see more videos like this, check out the Phantom Forces playlist up on screen for a ton of binge-worthy content, and of course, I'll see you later, guys. Peace, dudes.